I, later, after in my life, I was all over. And I used to be down south sometimes. And what I know about the South from my mother and father is it's no place to be. That's why we're here. Well, down there, it's in me a little bit too to see one of those old guys. Now I remember Little Rock and all those lynchings and stuff down there. It's in me to look at one of those older guy walking on a cane or something and wonder, how was he back then? I never know. But you can't help it. Wonder if you was one of them. But that's the way you get. I had an uncle, my mother's brother, that lived in Oklahoma. I told you they were out of South Carolina, my folks. Lived in Oklahoma. By the time I was a little boy, I couldn't understand why Uncle Boys lived way out in Oklahoma. I know I'd sure like to go, but I wonder why he's out there. And I was grown before Mom told me that you do something they don't like, they come for you at night.
Yep.
And lynch you or do whatever, beat you. Well, they come at him and he let one have it in the gut with a shotgun. So he had to get out of there. And that's why he didn't come to Mansfield, because he had a bunch of sisters here. Well, my maternal grandma and grandpa lived here. And he went to Oklahoma.
And 50 years later, before they knew where he was at, never sent a postcard or nothing, but he walked up to the house there on Lily Street one day.
His name was Uncle Lot. Atlanta.
That was Boys. When he shot that man and had to get up.
Uncle Boys is the one that shot him.
Yeah.
But there's stuff like that, they wouldn't even tell us when we
were. Oh, no, they wouldn't even.
Young, and I've seen stuff. When you get some age on, you've been through all that. The Jeffersonville, Indiana thing I told you about, where my brother-in-law had a store and everything. We were down there, me, Ed, and my mother. He killed her, shot her, slipped in the house and shot her while she was in the bed. We were in the house, and we'd blown a tire down there. We needed some more money. I drove Dad's car down there. We were 18.
Yeah, 1957.
18, I was in the service in 57.
Yeah, that's right.
Anyway, I looked in that purse after they moved her body out and asked us questions and everything. And then he told, you remember asking what happened, we told him what happened. The coroner was asking questions. Coots still got the funeral home down there.
Is he?
Well, not him, but
yeah, but I know.
Anyway, you remember him saying, there was a shot back through the door too. This is night, we never seen him or nothing. And we don't know why the shot was through the door from the inside. But anyway, after we got through, he said, now suppose you tell us how it really happened. Well, he seen that thing and he said, you guys didn't shoot at him? He had no gun. He said, I wouldn't have come down here from Ohio without a gun. I'm thinking, police is telling me this, that he wouldn't have came without a gun. And then, anyway, that money that was in the purse there on the table after everything cleared out and everything, well, I'm gonna look at her purse and get this full of bills. I don't know how much or, what denomination. And that purse was empty. Okay, ain't nobody been in there but cops. Man, I went to Mom, give me that key. Every time I go somewhere, I bring the key and give it back to Mom because this is Dad's car. I said, Mom, give me that key. Now, I'm from Ohio. I was born and raised up here. Give me that key, Mom. They got that money out of the purse. No, she wouldn't give it to me. Mom, give me that key. Gotta let me go down to that police station. And it was way later. Before I realized why Mom wouldn't give me the key. If I go down there in that police station saying those nice white policemen stole some money,
put you in jail.
Or I wouldn't be here now.
They even told us, don't leave. If you leave here without letting us know, we're going to put you on a $100,000 bond. And that was back in 1956.
Yeah.
A $100,000 bond.
Wow. It's hard to imagine.
Yep.
And that's the first place I went. I started working at the trading post, and we go get sandwiches at lunchtime. Bring back to for people to eat. He had 3 or 4 guys sometime working. And I come in the diner with this guy, and I plopped down on the stool in the diner. We ordered to go, but I plopped it. And he tapped me on the shoulder. The guy I was with. Man, you ain't supposed to sit down. Too late now. I'm not getting up. You know, I'm here now. But it was like, it was real bad down there. And it was Indiana.
Yes, right outside Louisville, Kentucky.
But for the most part, we didn't see no bad times on that. You know, like just the economic thing of buying a home where you wanted to, and stuff like that.
So you guys go to church. Can you tell us about your church?
We went to the Diamond Street Church down there when we go. Every now and then, Mom and Dad would, or Dad would say, "All right, everybody's going today," you know, and that's what we
But
do.
that was more like after we got grown. You know.
No, we do that sometimes. Once in a while we go, he'd say everybody's going today, and we'd have to get ready to go. And then my teens.
But that guy, he came a long way though, the Reverend Matt Ayers, because he started that church right out there on Raymond Street. Raymond and Daisy. There was an old house there and everything. I guess it held about 50.
Oh, wait a minute, he didn't start it. My aunt started it.
Yeah. Evans and, what's his name?
Elder Evans.
Elder Evans and
Yeah.
Aunt Iola.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And what's the name of the church?
Church of God in Christ.
That's what it was down there,
It's Matt Ayers Memorial now.
out there on Walker Lake
Walker
Road.
Lake Road. But they started at a little house right out there on Raymond and Daisy. Then they went from there, they went right there on Main Street, just you come over the tracks there, and a little building there where Middlebrook used to have the grocery store. They was in there. Then he went to Diamond Street. Then when they sold out on where they went to build a post office, they went from there to Walker Lake Road.
Well, actually, the bus garage is where it was,
Yeah.
on Diamond Street, right there. And then they went out, they got a nice place out there on Walker Lake Road. But the church thing was,
But there's some churches, some of the white churches didn't mind you coming. Yeah.
So was there like, you say the white churches didn't mind you come, so?
Some of them did. There was a couple of them.
you were going to one using grade school,
Yeah,
Martin's.
Yeah, Martin, the church right up there on Harker Street. My 5th grade school teacher,
Yeah.
her husband built that church right there where community.
I was thinking about that the other day. But it was, the church didn't get bad name, but they
They
just
were, yeah, they were.
kept to themselves in Mansfield till they got into some of these other ones, like these bigger mega churches out here and stuff. They really mixed pretty good. But they mostly kept to themselves back then.
All right. So tell us about your fondest memory of growing up in the North End.
We already have to.
Yeah. Do you have one in particular that sticks out, or?
Not really.
The memories is what's best of all, I think, don't you?
Yeah.
Just like we've been talking about it,
Yeah.
you know.
You know, it wasn't like going out in the park and barbecuing and everything like they do today. We, what we had, we just made the most out of.
And we got
And
into
enjoy
fishing,
it,
that was,
you know. Yeah,
Dad and Mom used to take us fishing.
Yeah, now we'd go
Mom and Dad
fishing
both
down there in
enjoyed fishing.
Mifflin, you know, and wade through them weeds with the snakes and things, you know, but we enjoyed that was just as much as going to Cedar Point, just like taking a kid to Cedar Point today.
Yeah, we didn't get to see the point too often.
Do you have a worse memory than it all? Anything in particular?
Any worse?
Yeah, worse memory, like a bad memory, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah, the sister that was killed, and
Yeah.
I had a brother that was killed when I was 8.
And that was here in Mansfield?
Yeah, and
Now, when you say killed, murdered?
shot.
Murder,
Yeah,
yeah.
Really?
yeah.
Was it like just some other stuff, or was it like racial?
Oh no,
No,
no.
It was just some other stuff.
Just, no. Just,
I don't know the heck. The worst racial things in Mansfield, as far as I know, the police. That's bad to say, but yeah.
Anything, any stories there you want to share?
With police?
You mentioned that they used to follow you home from the bowling alley. I mean, what other, anything else that stands out? Or
Yeah, in the 70s, I was Memorial Day, 1973. Moved into my house. And we wanted some food, hadn't took the stove up. I had a sister-in-law in Buffalo, another sister-in-law that lived over there near us. I went uptown to get some food at Mansfield restaurant on the square. I put the four-way zone, double parked, and ran in. They were in there. You know, I waited a while, circled about twice, and then I double parked with the four-way zone, went in there. And, yeah, I've been knowing a lot of people, or talking to people, and then somebody said, "Hey, there's police out there," and I ran out to move my car. And as I ran out there, he said, "That's your car?" Yes. And he said, "Will you move it, or before I have it towed?" I said, well, you wouldn't told me right here to move it, would you? What'd you say? Jumped out there. I said, "I'll handle it." He said, "What'd you say?" Got out. I told him what I said again. I said, "I'll handle it. You move that car down Main Street right now, or put you in jail." I said, "I'm gonna move Southern Hotel. You was right over from there." I said, "Okay, if you move your car out, I'm gonna go move in that parking spot right there." "No, you're going straight down Main Street." "No, I'm gonna move in that spot. You're under arrest." "What for?" "Disorderly conduct." Took me around, put my hands up on the car, pat me down. By then, my wife ran out of there. It was auxiliaryman. He was putting a cuff on me. I don't know what he was doing, but he must have been standing back there with the blackjack. And my wife said, "What are they arresting you for?" I'd already slapped the handcuff on one hand. My hands was behind me then. I'd already put the handcuff on one hand and opened my mouth to tell her. Crack! Hit me with a blackjack. Turned around, handcuff dangling. "What you hit me for?" By then he swung again. I think the second one just great enough where it left a little bruise. Swung again. Then he must have swung about 10 more times at me. Each time I was ducking him. "Stop trying to hit me." Now I'm bleeding like crazy from that initial blow. And when the backup came, I think the auxiliaryman called him. We was on a Volkswagen metal flake paint job, and he had his arm in the air, his right arm in the air, because I had it with my left, and he was over me trying to hit me, but he couldn't. He wore out by the end, because he tried. The auxiliaryman never done anything else either. And he probably called the backup, but he didn't join him in doing it. And so they came and finished handcuffing me and put me in the car. Took me to the police station. I wouldn't get out of it. No, you get out of the hospital, not here. Now, my wife and my two sisters-in-laws and everything is in my car. Carolyn Staples was driving it, I think. She's the only one that's driver's license. And so then they come out and looked at me, and then he said, "Okay," and took me to the hospital. He treated him and came back. Now, I don't know what would have happened if they weren't right with me. And so I paid a bond there. I got disorderly conduct. Then they added resisting arrest and assaulting a police officer. Now, that was Labor Day, 73. You know, I didn't mention to you guys earlier, I worked from 67 or 8 to 72, I think, with the city. That's who I was working for then. Then I went to court. They combined them all three, for just an arrest, disorderly conduct, and assault on a police officer. And I'm running around trying to say, hey, you guys, he's lying. And I found out, don't nobody believe you when you tell them a cop is lying. You tell them what happened, they say, well, are you drinking? Say, you know, automatically my fault. And that went on. I had that put off after I pleaded not guilty, set up a trial date. And then 5 weeks after that, now, that was Labor Day. I was off the rest of the week. When I went back to work, got me a doctor's slip, went back to work. That pay period rolled around, and I was 4 days short. Hey, what's this? He said, he told me not to pay you, the superintendent. He said, don't pay you. I said, but I had a slip and I've got sick days. He said, don't pay you, okay. I went in and asked him why. He said, your slip says you're able to return to work, but it didn't say you were disabled in the first place. And I said, okay. Lunchtime, we had an hour. I went and got a slip from the doctor, a new slip, everything. I went home real quick and called city goes, what you got to do if you're short 4 days and you make it right? Well, all you got to do is just tell you some truth. And he called uptown and they make the check. That's all. Yeah. So I went and gave him the slip and told him that. He said, now I got to call the service director and he's got to call this. And he said, three things. And I said, you're a damn lie. Told him all you got to do. Well, I fired myself right then, and I didn't know it yet. But a few weeks later, he conveniently fired me. Said I refused to work when I was given an option to go home. And I went to the Civil Service Commission, had my hearing. They put it off, or I didn't have the hearing, to have my hearing. They put it off, and then I went to, they put it off to after the first of the year. Now I'm in trouble for this, and now I've lost my job, 5 kids at home. Then I found out that the mayor appoints the Civil Service Commission, and we had a new mayor. And 3 of them resigned at the end of '73, and he appointed 3 new ones. Well, his cronies. And I said, wait a minute, I can't win. And I didn't, but I went in there. I had one lawyer named Juergens, and they were prosecuting me actually at that hearing. And they said, this guy deliberately refused to work, and Juergens stood up. I never forget, said, no, he was given a choice. And ain't nobody listened to him. So I was out of a job. They had that trial put off a couple times. Then in March, I think it was March or April of '74, night before I'm going to trial, man, I can't sleep at night. I think I'm going to jail. This guy's lying. And I went in there with a couple of waitresses, and they wanted me to ask what happened that night. The girl come over there. She said she knew everything. And I said, well, how come Lindsay hasn't been to trial? She didn't even recognize me. And she said, his lawyer keeps getting it put off. And I said, okay. She found out who I was before I left the restaurant. They called the other one over and asked her. And she said, I seen the officers. He ain't going there. I can't swear he had a blackjack because I never left the place. The other one said she was right out there on the sidewalk. She said, I never left the place. I can't swear he had a blackjack in it. She said, you're Lindsay, aren't you? I said, yeah. She took a napkin and wrote me the names of 2 witnesses. I don't know nothing about me or my lawyer don't know nothing about these witnesses. The police know about them, but they wouldn't tell me, or my lawyer. I couldn't believe it. That morning, I couldn't sleep at night anyway. I was waiting on that lawyer to come to his office. Gave him those names. 2 people took time off their jobs and came to the trial. Witnesses don't get to hear each other's testimony. They told it exactly like I did, and I was writing notes to Reinhardt, was my lawyer, to ask different questions. And the last note I sent him said, ask him whose handcuffs did they use to handcuff me. Stumped him. His story was, when he told me I was under arrest, I grabbed him in a headlock. It was then that he decided I might do him or his partner bodily harm, and he hit me on the head while in the headlock. Reinhardt, I don't know whether you guys knew him or not, but he was in a wheelchair for a long time. But he wasn't in a wheelchair then. He's kind of tall. He said, show me. And he went up there and got the cop in the headlock, and he couldn't even reach his head. And you know, this looks bad. And they told it exactly like I did. So I shot that note asking whose handcuffs. Since it happened, since he said I grabbed him in a headlock, oh, if I done that immediately, didn't have time to put no cuff on me and everything. And they still don't know that the cuff was on me all this time because it hasn't been mentioned. And they just sit there and the jury, everything knew. The cops set this up lying like hell. And the girl at that restaurant that said she knew everything, then she wasn't a witness for the cops. Anyway, he got rid of her like, what do you do, play pinball with the cops and everything up at Jimmy's? And she said, yeah, and they could see. And they found me not guilty on all 3 charges. But they were willing to let me burn for that. Knew that cop was lying till I got those witnesses. And I didn't know him, I couldn't even thank him. I'd never seen him before or after.
Wow.
But they got their time off their jobs and told that story exactly like I did. Now stuff like that, it's a lot of guys out there in jail ain't got no business there.
Yeah, including Cotton.
And see, we don't know what happened with Cotton. We know that cop was dead, but I don't know how that cop died.
What's Cotton? You have to excuse us.
That's a long time ago.
Charles Cotton, when they...
He's up there for murder, keeps coming up for parole.
And they keep getting denied and everything, but Cotton, I wasn't there.
He ends up with the policeman dead.
The policeman dead. But you had what you call him, the backup cop.
They had 2 cops out there.
Yeah, 2 cops. And one ended up dead.
And Cotton ended up with the gun.
And Cotton ended up with the gun.
They found him with it.
So they say he ended up with the gun. But the reason they won't parole him is because that other officer shot that cop in the melee. And that's the reason they won't release him. What, he been 37 years, 34 years?
Something like that.
That's awful.
And when he come up for parole, denied. So the last time he came up for parole, he wouldn't even go to the board. He said, well, it's going to be denied anyway. I won't even take it.
Jeez.
34 or 37 years he's done already.
And then, you know, there's other things, the shootings, you know. You know, there's that undue force. There's a name out there on Bowman Street, Duckworth. I didn't see that. Didn't know Duckworth.
Yeah.
But all I know is this guy, they said, had a knife. And their favorite thing is he lunged at me, is what they say. But they blew Duckworth away right in front of his mother. Now, you got 6 or 7 cops out there, all they need is a stick with a knife. But blew him away right in front of his mom. She's yelling at him to put the thing that they didn't give him time. And the latest one, of course, up here on Superior. I don't know that guy or nothing, but I know that he didn't have no business with 12 bullets in him, and he ain't done nothing. 12 bullets, 3 of them, target practice, bang, bang, bang. And justifiable. They always come up smelling like a rose.
Yeah.
But that thing with me, that guy arrested me 2 times after that. And one time he said I was drunk, and I said, you crazy. Put me in jail. But the judge, the one could see right through it, he kept on, I kept hinting in a way that I knew the guy. And then he asked me, has he ever arrested you? And I started singing like a canary then and told him what happened. But things like that with the police here, And you know, you don't have many black policemen here, but now the retired chief is my cousin, first cousin, but he was the first one in Mansfield. But they can't understand why they can't recruit black officers. And it's not all black men, but some of them is like joining the enemy.
Yeah.
And they, you know, they should have more black policemen, you know, for the black population here. But they can't understand it for nothing.
I remember a couple of cases where some guys, which they was unruly, but they wasn't cop killers. But the police arrested them, and like I say, the city limits then was like going out Spring Mill there. Okay, it was before you get to the overpass there at 30.
What about Burns, wasn't it?
And they, yeah, right there at Burns and Spring. They take them just beyond that, instead of taking them to jail, and open the door. Say, why don't you run? So we could gun them down. That's 2 or 3 cases. They know, take me to jail. He said, I'm not getting out of here where you can put a bullet in me. You take me to jail. And that's where he did it. That's where he took it. Yeah.
Well, what you're getting here is the most segregation or we've seen or ratio is from the police.
Yeah, from the force, right there.
And that, you know, that's bad. Now, there's some damn good guys, don't get me wrong.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a few that don't take many. That Oswald that killed you, I don't know how much you guys know. He's out of prison now. Oswald
Yeah.
killed this girl.
You didn't see where he got
She was
released?
pregnant and then had a kid by Oswald. They know he was guilty and they gathered people got $50,000 for his defense. And he murdered that girl. And then they got him for abuse of a corpse. He's out of jail now. But the police, for the most part, in Mansfield's been rotten. They've been rotten.
Is that kind of how you've always remembered? I mean, has it always been that way, you think? I mean, or at least for a little...
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
because it's been corrupt in that police department since
They wrote a book on
started
it.
it. Since they started the police.
It's a book out on it.
Yeah, old Butler, Captain Butler,
Yeah.
used to be captain of the police. When he retired and went to Florida, he wrote a book and everything, you know what I'm saying? But some of the stuff he forgot. I don't know how he forgot it, but if I remember it, I don't know how he forgot it.
There was one, they had a series of things, but what happened, they quit writing them. They were talking about blood, cleaning up blood and everything where they beat guys up there and everything. Can I answer this phone?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, I know a lot of times that they had some guys and took them out there.
My
and
wife.
took 'em.
You think it's the same as today, or is it worse, or is it better today?
It's hard to say. I'm not out there. I'll tell you what, a young black man don't stand a chance in Mansfield.
Yeah.
They're gonna get him for something.
The reason it's so
What do you
hard
want?
today is because the policemen are scared of what these guys is carrying themselves. Because some of these guys is packing
I'll be
Yeah.
there.
something stronger than the police got,
Okay?
you know. And that's why they mostly
All right.
scared today.
Right.
But I noticed throughout the whole system that every time that a guy's been shot or killed or mistreated, it's mostly by a guy that come out of Shelby, Butler, Fredericktown, Belleville, Clear Fork, or Lexington. And they get hired in there, you know what I'm saying, to whoop a black man or to kill one. You know what I'm saying? Any kind of resistance he give you, you know what I'm saying, you put it on him.